Welcome to our latest deck introduction featuring Control Warrior. In every era of Hearthstone, Control Warrior manages to adapt, reinvent, and find a way to be relevant once again. The mean streets of gadgets and expansion is no exception. While clinging to classic Control Warrior mechanics and the League of Explorers trademark sustain cards such as Lee Starseeker and Justicar Trueheart with the Grand Tournament, the deck has some new flavors. It includes Dirty Rat as a key cornerstone of the deck and a few powerful armoring up additions. Control Warrior has, and perhaps always will be, the paradigm for a control deck. The first thing you need to know in order to pilot it well is that one of your best resources is simply your life total, and learning how to manage it wisely is often the difference between victory and defeat. After finding a fiery war axe for removal in the early game, you have to learn to be comfortable simply taking damage while your opponent plays out their turns. Understanding how much damage you can afford to take, and how to anticipate the swing turns in a game is the difference between an absolutely terrible win rate and the cruise control climb to legend with this deck. Getting the best value out of single target removals like Shield Slam, Execute, and your key AoE removal Brawl can only happen if you manage the game correctly. Most Control Warrior lists are running 2 copies of the iconic Gorehowl to help with its Dragon Priest, Reno Mage, and Reno Warlock matchups, which are very common in the current meta. One of the incredible combos that Control Warrior has stumbled upon in the Mean Streets era is the ability to play Dirty Rat and follow it with any of Warrior's insanely powerful removal. Against aggro decks, playing Dirty Rat and Brawl simply steals damage from their hand before they can even throw it at your face, and this is exactly what Control Warrior needed to keep pace with how fast aggro decks had become. Perhaps even more powerful, Dirty Rat suffocates all the decks that are targeting aggro. These decks consist of a large number of cards that lean on battle cries to get insane value. Pulling these cards with Dirty Rat can oftentimes be the equivalent of milling the cards, since they exist almost exclusively for the battle cry. Finally, where past iterations of Control Warrior have run their own set of finishers, such as Ragnaros, Ysera, and N'Zoth, the Mean Streets Warrior has been almost completely refined to endure in the aggro and mid-range matchups. It leans on Grommash Hellscream and Elise Starseeker for the extra steam in the longer matchups, and these 2 cards should be carefully managed as well. In a way, the current iteration of Control Warrior resulted from a series of tech decisions. Dropping most of the finishers and doubling up on some ridiculous removal like Gorehowl was Control Warrior's way of surviving in what has become an incredibly polarized meta. That being said, if you're seeing more aggro, lean heavily on 2 copies of Revenge and try to plan a way to get them activated while hanging onto burst armor like Shield Block and even Ally Armorsmith to recoup after getting down to 12. On the flip side, if you're seeing more control decks, finding room for an additional finisher like Ragnaros the Firelord and managing your game plan to maximize the number of legendaries you can roll with Elite Starseeker is essential. Tread carefully. Control Warrior is and always has been one of the most complex decks in Hearthstone. Unlike Freeze Mage and Miracle Rogue, which are noticeably and obviously complex, Control Warrior's complexities are subtle and difficult to learn. Pay careful attention throughout your climb to how you lost the games that went poorly and how you won the games that felt great. Often, simply saving a charge of Fiery War Axe on turn 2 and then later getting more value out of a Brawl is the difference between winning and losing. While this is an intimidating deck, there are few feelings in Hearthstone better than stomping an aggro deck, depleting all 30 of their cards, and watching them concede while you have 70 plus health. The difficult journey that gets you to a high skill cap with the deck is certainly worth this savory reward. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.